Welcome back. Another episode of The Fishbowl, episode 12. How you doing today, Juju?
Good, I'm doing great.
Hell yeah.
How are you doing?
Feeling at the top of the world. I don't know if it's
God.
the new coffee or not, but honestly, I'm feeling a little... My heart's fucking fluttering
Me
right
too,
now.
my mouth's numb.
It's the Wicked Joe's, and it really was Wicked Joe's. So, here we are. It's the weekend. Excited to be here. Let's, anything noteworthy before we hop in? I feel like the flow's looking good.
It's looking great. It's looking great. You're like such a vibe, honest to God.
Very happy. I decided to grow out the hair. It's one of the better moves of my life. So
I love
decided
it.
to ask you to marry me.
Right. And you were so hesitant about it at first. I think it looks great.
I think it does too. You know the thing is, with hair, it's like very important, but like it's always gonna grow. Well, for the most part, it's always gonna grow, and you could always cut it. So the day I look at it and I'm like, I don't like it anymore, is the day I call Mikey D. I'm like, dude, I need to get my hair cut. And boom,
100%.
problem solved. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's not like a tattoo. It's nothing permanent.
Yeah, that's why you can get creative with it.
That's why I can get creative with it.
I actually just ordered a new shampoo and conditioner that's specific to me.
Like what? Like personalized?
Like it's
from where?
Julia's shampoo. It's a company called Prose, Prose.
We used to work with them at
No
Customer.
shit.
Yeah, we did their customer support. That's funny.
My God.
Yeah, they're based out of New York, I think.
Yes. So I actually found them a couple years ago. Like we were in North Carolina. And I was like, oh my gosh, I really, I've always had thin, short, gets right around here and then doesn't grow anymore. Hair, really thin, whatever. And I was like, I really, a dream of mine is to have, this elegantly long, beautiful, natural,
Rapunzel.
wavy. I want it so bad. And, I was thinking about it the other day, and I was like, what do I do? How do I get healthy hair? I eat well. I do so many good things. And then I was, thinking about it in my head. I didn't say this out loud to anyone. And then, boom, out of nowhere, I haven't gotten an email from Prose in literally years. And then I get an email from them. And it was Memorial Day sale.
Yeah,
and
let's do it.
I'm like, let's fucking go. And so, I took the little quiz exam thing, which they ask a lot of really in-depth questions, right down to well, how do you eat? What's your diet look like? A lot of really good questions. And so I'm really excited for it to come in and just see what it could do for me. I got the shampoo and the conditioner, and they put some other stuff in my cart. I honestly didn't really.
Was it expensive or?
Yeah.
As much as the Olaplex? Damn, you said yeah fast. There wasn't even yeah. Quite honestly, Joe, it was pretty fucking expensive.
Quite honestly, I'm disgusted. No.
We can't afford groceries this week because I wanted to have nice hair. Sorry, but it is what it is.
No, it was $130.
Oh my God! For shampoo and conditioner?
Yes.
A year's supply?
Who the fuck said a year? Probably a month, Joe.
Oh. Yes.
I could have subscribed and saved. But
what, $5?
Because I don't know.
Thank God. Every month you're getting
No, wait.
$100+ for shit. I thought the Olaplex was expensive.
It is.
It was compared to this. No, it's not.
I know. You can have my Olaplex. I'm just trying it out while we live here. We're living rent free right now with my parents, so it's the time to really see if it works.
No. All right. Well, let's move on from there. Now my heart's about to fucking just
it's the
stop
coffee,
that.
don't worry.
Yeah.
I'll kick us off. I want you to take a breather.
$130.
Oh my God, a whole stack.
Oh, those are the unwritten ones. The fishbowl questions to be.
I love this question. So what is your gut? I'm so happy I pulled this. So, the gut is such a good topic because I feel all the time people talk about the gut, and what does it mean? And a lot of people think it just means this whole system of organs.
Yeah, just right here. Everything.
Anything thrown in here, which is a lot of organs, all of our vital organs, right? That's why they're in the gut, in the stomach area. But, so basically, the gut is actually referring to the colon, which actually refers to the large intestine. So when we think of digestion, there's a lot of things going on here, but it starts in the mouth, right? When we take food in, and then it goes down the esophagus, it enters the stomach, which is where gastric acid is secreted, and so it breaks shit down. I've said this to Joe before, but I think of stomach and gastric acid as this green, hot, steamy cauldron of like
a witch's brew.
A witch's brew.
And shit.
That's gastric acid. So imagine the bolus of food that you chew comes down into here, and it kind of just breaks down into digestible shit. You know what I mean? And so after the stomach enters the small intestine, which is the area of absorption and distribution to, all these other areas of the body. And then...
That was the small intestine you said?
It's the site of absorption.
So it goes from the stomach to the small intestine.
Right. Okay. And then in the small intestine is where the vitamins and nutrients all get kind of sent out to the rest of the body. So that's why have omegas for brain health. Well, after there, it's going to the brain. You know what I mean? So,
okay.
So that's kind of what happens there. And then whatever's left over goes to the large intestine, which again is the colon or the gut. And so that's where all of our good, hopefully, but good gut bacteria lives, right? Our microbiome is all in the large intestine. So this is where gut health comes into like a major role. So we can either, no matter what kind of bacteria we have growing in our gut, it's going to colonize. There's going to be a lot of it. So it's either going to be good gut bacteria or not so good gut bacteria. And that's where a lot of, results we see from diet occur, okay? So 95% of the body's serotonin is produced in the gut, the colon, the large intestine. Yeah. So if we have good gut bacteria, we have a lot of serotonin and a lot of good things happening in there and a lot of good outcomes. Not so good, you know what I mean? So
that's why they call it like the second brain, because they have that connection
to the vagus nerve.
Yeah, the vagus nerve and releasing the hormones that could communicate to the brain. That's why I think we were talking about, or maybe we were talking about in one of the episodes, but when you could have, gut problems could lead to mood problems, and vice versa. Mood problems can lead to gut problems 100%. Because of that connection. Mm-hmm. So I thought that was like really interesting. And one thing that I didn't want to cut you off was like really like wow, eye opening for like me when we were having this conversation. I remember we were driving to Stop and Shop because I was like, holy shit, it's mind boggling,
I know.
But and I want you to go into this a little bit more, but like probiotics, prebiotics. Yeah. But when you always said like, hey, prebiotics need to be insoluble foods, ones that like you can't dissolve. Right. And I was just like, oh yeah, but I never knew why, and it was because it needs to be, you need to eat something like, something fibrous or
oats, bananas,
things that could get past the witch's cauldron of the stomach, go past the small intestines without losing everything, and then it needs to be, like there still needs to be substance there to make it to the large intestines, aka the gut, because that's what the bacteria in the large intestine is going to eat and feed off of. So the food needs to be fibrous enough to make it through make it through all of those different systems. And I was like, oh, that makes a lot of sense as to why. But when it comes to probiotics, where's like the site of absorption with that?
So, great question. Probiotics is the actual bacteria. Right, probiotics is that colony of good gut microbiome. Right, so it is the bacteria. So that's when yogurt is like a great example, and it's like lactobacillus or there's so many different kinds, and I literally can't sit here and say any more than that. It's like the most famous one, but there's so many different kinds, and so those those are all the actual bacteria. So first, if we were trying to get our gut nice and healthy, we need good probiotics. We need good gut bacteria to live in there, okay? And then once it's there, the prebiotics, prebiotics feed the good gut bacteria. So that's fiber. The human body, we as humans cannot break down fiber, but it's so good for us for so many different reasons, right? So A, it helps regulate our hormones. It slows digestion. It lets everything happen nice and slowly versus having a shit ton of sugar processed is going to like spike blood sugars. Insulin's flowing everywhere. Like insulin's a hormone, right? So fiber slows digestion down a little bit, and then it therefore kind of helps regulate all the other bodily functions, right? A lot of hormone secretions. It helps a lot in that. It also helps us feel fuller longer because it slows digestion down. So it helps aid in satiety cues and sometimes therefore weight loss and so forth.
Helps with like bowel movements and like having like a solid stool, like solid, but solid also.
No, it adds bulk to your stool.
Yeah.
And here's why. So when we eat food, like let's take a whole food for example, a banana, okay? We'll have a banana, and again, we're chewing it in the mouth, it comes down the esophagus into the stomach. Gastric acid's going to break it down a little bit. It goes into the small intestines. All those great nutrients and great benefits of a banana are going to get distributed throughout the body. And then what's left, right? It's almost like a sponge. Like if you take a sponge and you squeeze out all the water, the nutrients, whatever's in there that's good and beneficial for the body, whatever's left over passes through into the colon, and that's our stool, right? We use what we can from food, and then we get rid of it.
Yeah.
Okay? So fiber, again, our body cannot break down. And so when it reaches the colon, the gut, a lot of times that fiber, if it's a prebiotic, it's going to actually feed the good gut bacteria. And they can, it's a live bacteria. It can break it down. right? So it kind of fuels and therefore increases the colonization of the good gut bacteria, which is the goal. We want a nice, good, healthy, strong army of gut bacteria in there.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of what it does. And then whatever's left over after that passes through as stool, right? And exits through the rectum. So that's digestion, mouth to rectum. That's how it works, right?
Mouth to rectum.
Yeah, that's how it
Soup to nuts, mouth to ass, you know?
Listen,
well, not
hey.
mouth to ass.
Kind of scared me. But yeah, that's like essentially it. But fiber is so fucking important. There's a great book out there. It's called Fiber Fueled. I literally tell everyone in the world to read it because it's so beneficial.
But you gotta be careful with it because we've had negative,
too much. Yeah. So listen,
there is like, I feel like 99% of people won't deal with this because they don't like eat enough fiber as is, but also don't like intentionally track it and make sure. But I ate 100 grams of fiber for 4 days, and let me tell you what. Too much, you get very bloated. It almost has like a negative effect.
It does. It
almost binds you up too much instead of adding solidifying everything in your gut and in your GI tract and helping it exit. It almost kind of like makes it too thick. I felt like I was pregnant, man. My stomach was out to here for days.
Stretching his body over the kitchen counter.
Yeah, I needed like a rolling pin to fucking decompress me.
Yeah.
But so there was like a healthy balance to it. But most people are definitely under fiber fueled than over fiber fueled.
A lot of people, especially here in America, do not get enough of a lot of things. Let's be real. Like they don't get enough magnesium, enough omegas, enough fiber, enough a lot of things, right? And so B12 is another great one. But so what we see a lot of times is, people can't pass stools, they're constipated, they're having bowel issues, they're having GI issues. And it's like, if we could just introduce a little hydration and a little fiber, we'll push everything along, right? And so that's where kind of fiber is so important. And we hear, if you can't pass a stool, increase your fiber intake. Totally, you should. But on the opposite end, too much fiber will also constipate you, and also too much is bulked up. And so you gotta find the healthy balance. But I think, for women, it's somewhere around like 25 grams a day of fiber is the recommendation, and men is like 30 grams a day or something like that. That's a recommendation, like a very vague kind of generalized, suggestion. But really they say try not to go for like 50, 60 grams a day.
So 100 was quite a bit.
So that was like double the maximum.
I have like PTSD from fucking chickpeas now. I look at them and I cringe. But,
they're very high, yeah. So
no, I was gonna say, so let me ask you this thing. Because I know we were talking about this a little bit yesterday at lunch. But so you have fiber is the all important fiber. Body can't digest it.
Fiber.
But is the fiber you get from a banana the same as the fiber you get from a potato? And is that the same fiber that you get from like fortified fiber and protein shakes, Like at the end of the day, once it passes through the stomach, the small intestine, by the time it gets to the large intestine, it's fiber in like the raw sense. Is that going to be the same exact fiber in all three scenarios, or is the fiber from a banana different from the fiber end result of a potato? You know what I mean? Is that the component? Is that the same in it or no?
So there's two different types of fiber. There's soluble fiber and there's insoluble fiber. And so the difference being that soluble fiber can break down with water. So water kind of helps it break down a little bit. And so it kind of turns into like a gel-like substance, and it helps with a lot of bodily functions. That's where I talk about hormone regulation and all these great things. And then insoluble fiber is the one that really adds bulk to our stool. And so that one...
That's like it comes out the same way it went in, basically.
It can't break down.
You think corn and shit like that.
Right, which chew, right? Always help the gut by chewing, because it then has to do less work. So it's easier on the stomach. If you have GI issues, also digestion issues, make sure you're chewing your food a lot thoroughly and eating slowly. But yeah, insoluble fiber does not break down in water, doesn't turn into that jelly substance. It adds bulk to our stool. So that's where I say like it's good for hormonal health and keeping the gut in line and bodily functions. And then there's, insoluble, which is going to go ahead and add that bulk to that stool and help bowel movement. So there's two different kinds.
Which is better for gut health? Which is better for feeding the microbiome?
I mean, they both do, but, probably insoluble.
Because it gets there in its raw form. It's not like partially digested by the time it...
Yeah.
Interesting stuff over there.
For sure.
Very enlightening gut health, you know?
I love the gut. I can talk about the gut all day. I'm obsessed with fiber. Just, yeah, I love it, God.
That's all I got on that. All right. Good talk on the gut. Help prevent leaky gut.
Fiber-fueled. Dr. William B. I'm so sorry, I forgot his last name. Brunas or something, but it's a great read.
Oh, cool. On topic. I said nutrition panel results.
Yeah.
So we did we got blood tests done probably like a month ago. Just because we're like very interested. You know, everybody, I feel like you should get it done just to, even if you feel great, like we're the prime example.
An annual
we felt really, really good. We're like, let's just check. And like, especially because like we stopped eating meat and like, you know, we know that there's some potential side effects of that, like, you know, low vitamin B12. And yeah, exactly. So, and you know, we thought we were getting enough. So let's just double check. So we got a blood test back and lo and behold, they're pretty enlightening. So for the most part, I'd say like 90%, 95%, maybe even more. We were very good. But vitamin B12, not deficient, but on the cusp of deficiency. You know what I mean? If the range was like 200 to 800, whatever units, I was like 215. You know what I mean? Like very there.
Yeah.
As well as, you know, for the lipid panel, so like your fats, I was not deficient, I had great cholesterol levels, but like something we found out was that, and like I kind of knew this, but genetically predisposed to high cholesterol and like due to like lipoprotein A particle size and stuff like that, but
for your family's lineage.
But because of my which, and you were telling me it's very common in like Mediterranean descent. Totally. You know, fucking pasta.
It is. No, but also olive oil and fish. I know. Right? Yeah.
But so it was good to know this information because I feel phenomenal, and I would have never known that.
You're healthy. You work out.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I feel really good, but you could always feel better, I guess, and it's good to. You know, from the B12 perspective, like we supplement that now, and like it's good to get that because B12 is great for like, you know, help converting like your food to energy and whatnot. And like maybe we were a little bit like more tired or sluggish. We don't really know until we start seeing the results. But as far as like the omegas go, you know, that really helps. You know, a lot of like, you know, now things like, you know, inflammation and things of that nature, but also long term helping to kind of stay away from those negative genetic, you know, scenarios happening. So I'm very happy that we did it. You know, I think, and I can't, you know, honestly, I can't wait to do it again.
I know.
To see how like the numbers are changing. You know, I think that's like super cool.
Well, what I thought was the most interesting was with your omegas. So then Joe was like, "Oh, I have to take an omega supplement," and in my head, like the doctor was like, "Oh, you should take a fish oil." And then after doing some research, you were telling me that fish oil is actually because the fish consume underwater the kelp or the seaweed algae family. And so that's where they get their benefits. And so people take fish oil, but just go straight to the source and eat the fucking seaweed.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, exactly.
Or algae.
So it was like...
you have a plant-based supplement called Nordic.
Yeah, Nordic Naturals.
And it's just the fucking algae. And that's like exactly what you want. Why are we going through the fish to get there? Knock out the middleman. Right? Go straight to the source.
Yeah. Well, but conversely, like we also thought the same thing about vitamin B12. We were like, it's in meat because animals eat vegetation and that's rich in it, and then we eat the animals, so we thought if we cut out the meat, we could go right to the source, but the volume just like isn't there. And we drink a lot. I was actually surprised. I was thinking about it the other day. We have a lot of fortified B12 stuff. I mean, we drink flax milk like no other, and that stuff's fortified with it. And you have your results are a little bit higher than mine, right? Probably because of nutritional yeast and whatnot.
Yeah, but mine was very close to deficiency too. But realistically, B vitamins, where are we getting the best source from in a full diet is going to be dairy.
Yeah,
that's where it comes from. So when you take away dairy, it's hard to get it. But, you know, all milks are fortified a lot of times with B12 or even some vitamin D sometimes or calcium. But so now we're learning, you know, B12 on a plant-based diet is, you know, fortified milks alternatives, soy products, so tofu, tempeh, edamame, soy milks, you know, all these things have natural sources of B12 or B vitamins. And so now we're just, nutritional yeast is another fantastic one. I love nutritional yeast. I put in a lot of shit. I love Nooch. I also cook with it a lot. So I mean, this is part of the learning process though. Plant-based eaters are 1000% prone to more deficiencies. So there's such thing as eating plant-based in a nourishing, wholesome way that supports your body and your nutrition and your goals. And then there's eating plant-based that could turn real processed real quick. That's not supportive. That's not helping your body, not really doing any favors. And, I was the perfect example of that the first time I stopped eating meat, right? 2019, we moved to North Carolina. I had an aversion to meat. I just totally cut it out. And then I'm feeling super sluggish. We were eating impossible meats. I was so dependent on protein bars. Those Costco Kirklands, they were delicious. Protein shakes. I mean, I'm really telling you, I was very dependent on fake processed protein supplements for plant-based. And I was like, my lips were turning purple. I was severely anemic. I was so cold, so tired all the time. Like, I was literally so pale. Like, I got into work one day and a colleague of mine was like, "Are you okay?" She was like, "You literally look terrible." And I was like, "Me?" I was like, "I feel great."
I feel great.
She's like, protein shake. She was like, "Do you?" She's like, "You literally don't look well. Like, you have like no color. Like, you look like you're dying." And I was like, "Oh my God, dude." And so, long story short, I was like, "Yeah, I mean, I am definitely tired a lot of the time." Long story short, I went to go get my blood drawn. They were like, "You're severely anemic. You need iron. You need B vitamins. You need all these things." And I kind of just like reflected on my diet and I was like, "What am I eating?" And I was like, "Oh my God, like almost a fully processed diet." Like, it was really not good.
Yeah.
And so it's a learning experience is what I say. And because I was a lot less educated also back then on, plant-based eating and where nutrients come from and all these great things. And so it just goes to show that, like, plant-based is good if you are doing it correctly, if you're focused on whole food plant-based options, and if you know how to combine certain foods, and okay, plant-based eaters are more prone to B12 deficiencies or maybe omega deficiencies and so forth, and then know where to go out of your way to get those sources. Yeah. And so it's a learning process, I think, for sure. But
well, I think it's for every diet, you know what I mean? Like, or lifestyle. Like, whether you eat meat or you don't, you eat dairy, you eat just fish. I mean, odds are you're probably neglecting something.
Right.
So it's like, we know what we might be neglecting. It's like up to you to figure out what you might be neglecting in your diet. Just because you eat meat, like, maybe you're not eating enough vegetables or fruits or anything like that, So I think it's just, important to know, important to see so you can act upon it. If you don't know the numbers, and you just go off of this sense of, oh, I feel good. Well, like, you don't want to feel good until you don't feel good. You might as well, you might as well, try to nip shit in the butt.
Right. But, well, another great example is my brother. So he has trouble sleeping, and he has a great diet. I mean, very, very, very balanced. He eats a lot of, like, whole foods. He doesn't eat a processed diet. He doesn't eat fast food. You know what I mean? Like, nothing like that. He'll have, like,
it's super healthy.
An animal protein, a vegetable, a starch, like, very balanced. And he can't sleep at night, and he hasn't been able to in years. And this is just, like, the reality of it. And of course, stress plays a role and all these other things, and caffeine intake plays a role. But I was like, go get your blood drawn and go figure out what's going on. And he's in the middle of doing that. But in the meantime, we came down to magnesium deficiency being a potential culprit. So, starting him on a magnesium supplement. And this is so common. So many people in America, at least I could talk about, are deficient in magnesium. And what are the consequences of magnesium deficiency? Unable to sleep, anxiety, depression. Well, look in America. This is what people are struggling with, especially our generation.
Where do you get magnesium from?
It's a mineral. So things that grow in the ground are high in minerals.
Like potatoes,
carrots, beets, all these things. But this is why it's so important to just get a variety in your diet. It's like, if you like broccoli and rice and grilled chicken, that's great. But you can't eat that every single day and expect, broccoli is great and it has so many fantastic benefits to it, but it doesn't have everything.
Yeah.
So you gotta switch it up. Have some carrots, have some beets, have some freaking string beans, have, a lot of different things. But a balanced diet is not just thinking in macros, it also is a variety, right?
Gotta eat the rainbow.
Yeah. Exactly. Vitamins are colors, right?
Yeah, phytochemicals. Yeah, I was reading about that.
Need a variety. 100% eat the rainbow.
Eat the rainbow.
I pledge by it. Alright. Oh, another one of mine. Self-control during holidays. I feel like holidays, my mind jumps to like the end of the year and those holidays, but this is so relevant right now in the summer. I've been working with so many clients who are talking about this, and I just realized I picked twice.
That's alright.
Alright. But anyways, like, with summer coming up, it's almost like Memorial Day just like opens the floodgates to like the rest of the summer. And my clients all collectively share that it's so stressful. And they're like, it's barbecue after barbecue. What's that mean? Hamburgers, hot dogs, potato chips, French fries, pasta and potato salad that's like covered in mayonnaise, and sodas and beers and alcohol and ice cream. And they're like, it's just fucking nuts. And it's weekend after weekend after weekend.
It's wedding season.
It's wedding season. It's graduation parties.
Yeah.
It's
summer's awesome, but it's very event heavy.
Yeah, it's warm and sunny out. It's Friday after work. Oh, everyone come over. It's just, there's more gatherings, which is a beautiful thing. But, communally a good thing. But then also it's a struggle for, dietary habits, especially when you're in a routine or trying to get in a routine, and then that kind of breaks you out of it. So, yeah, what are your thoughts on that?
I mean, I struggle with, obviously, Memorial Day. Like, we did pretty well. I did well, like, until dessert came out. And then it was,
It's common.
It's my downfall. But, yeah, I think what we do well, and what we're starting to do well, is to, like, obviously, like, you get invited somewhere, you should bring something. Instead of bringing a bottle of wine or some fucking pre-bought cookies from a store or whatever. Like, we bring things that we know are going to be good for the crowd, but also something that we could eat on. So God forbid there's nothing else there. Like that salad you made up for my mom's birthday, Memorial Day. Giant salad, like a greens and grain type salad. It was amazing. It was a big hit. And there was other options there, but we knew that if we needed to, we could just eat that, Mm-hmm. When we do barbecues for D'Amelio's, we bring food, so it's not like, hey, our only option is like eggplant parm and potato salad.
Right.
You kind of have to like plan out for yourself. So then you could just, you have like a fallback at least. Hey, I could stick within my level of discipline.
Right. And I think there's so many things that you can do. I think like first and foremost is when you start your day, let's say you have a big barbecue at 2:00. Let's say it's 4th of July, right? Because that's coming up. It's like, this is what so many people default to. People save their calories and it's like, oh, well, I'm going to get there and it's going to be fine because I didn't eat breakfast or lunch and so it's going to be all good and no worries. But it's like,
into a machine.
You're starving. Now you're like, I need food. So now you're going to jump to the quickest thing that's like the most satisfying and, the potato salad and the burger and the blah, blah, blah. And, stay in routine. Wake up, do your morning routine, whatever that means. If you work out, go work out, right? Or if you don't, maybe go for a walk if you're going to be kind of, really around food and indulging that day, whatever it is. Stay in your routine and do not ever go to a party or a holiday or an event starving or hungry or something that's going to set you up. I've said this so many times, but restriction always leads to a binge, and that can mean so many different things.
Oh, absolutely.
If you restrict yourself all day before the event, you are going to binge at the event.
Well, we know just ourselves, I wouldn't even call it restrict, because we don't restrict ourselves eating, but if we just happen to, like life gets in the way and you miss a meal... Oh. We are fucking animals.
See us.
It's disgusting. The times we are worse with our the worst times with our eating is when we accidentally miss breakfast or lunch. Yeah. It really is lunch. And dinner, we're just like it's like we have no self-control at all. And like we always, in the moment you don't realize it, and then we'll be laying in bed like, what the fuck happened to us? We're like, well, we skipped lunch. And subconsciously, we're like, all right, got to double. Because I'm never like, oh, I got to eat more. I missed lunch. I don't care if I miss lunch or not. It's not that. Mm-hmm. But we just really go ham. And I think especially with like, that's when like the sweets come out. Is, your body's like, dude, I need like, the fuel. And like sugar is like, one source of fuel for your body. So it's like, hey, like let's get that.
It's a direct source of fuel.
It's a direct source of fuel.
So much easier for the body to, it's such a quicker process. When you intake sugar for the body to break it down quickly, spikes blood sugar, and then use it, ATP, energy, all that. So when you don't eat enough carbs throughout the day, or when you don't eat enough throughout the day, you get a sweet tooth. Because the body's like, sugar, I need the quickest form of whatever's going to pump me up and give me energy. Yeah. Your body's smart. It knows what it needs. Cravings are so real, and we should honor them when they're, we should take them into consideration. Why am I craving sweets? Oh, maybe I didn't eat enough today. Maybe I need some healthy carbs, some fibrous carbs. Yeah. You know what I mean? But stick in your routine. Be conscious eating when you're there. Bring something. It's
prepare in advance. Yeah, absolutely.
When I bring the grain salad, it's, a grain. So I did farro, and then a legume. I did lentils. I did a bunch of chopped vegetables, a homemade dressing. People loved it. They were like, this is delicious. But I knew it was covering my bases. And it's our bases. And it's not like selfish. It's like, hi, I'm bringing enough for everyone. My salad was literally this.
Yeah, it was huge.
But it's like, and also inspiring to other people. So they get there and they're like, oh my god.
People were compliment, dude. They loved that salad.
It was gone.
Yeah.
Like, we were like, oh, well, you know, there's gonna be so many leftovers. There was nothing left. You know, a little dressing. That's it. But it's like you inspire other people and you don't even realize it. And sometimes, you know, people are like, almost not looking for the inspiration, but like you'll just be so surprised how quickly you can inspire someone by like being healthy and just like leading
by example.
By example, yeah.
Lead by example, people.
100%. There's something else I was going to say too that was really relevant. With social events, bring your own food. Yeah. Whatever.
When in doubt, drink water.
Yeah, always hydrate, especially in the summer holidays, for sure.
Well, also just like, I feel like it's like, are you craving or are you just thirsty, you know? And
yeah. Don't hang around the food table. If we're having a conversation, catching up, and the apps table's right here.
Yeah.
And guess what? Oh, yeah, tell me more. Yeah, oh, no shit. You're going to eat mindlessly.
Yeah.
You know, appetizers, don't graze. Get yourself a small plate, fill it up, make a balanced, full, satisfying appetizer plate. And when you're done, apps are over. You know what I mean? Entree, same thing. If you're having a burger, maybe hold off on the potato salad and go for the leafy green salad. Balance. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And that's what I think a lot of people don't do. And then stuffed to the brims and unsatisfied. And just munch.
Just munch.
It's a learning process. Like, you know what I mean? We're still freaking figuring it out.
Well, this is like my first summer, like being conscious and like actively like watching my eating habits, like while just in general, but like this is my first summer, like being around, like this is my time of the year. This is where Joey D thrives.
Charges up in
backyard barbecues is like my jam, you know. So yeah, it's a learning curve for everybody, all levels and disciplines and whatnot.
That's it. Discipline. Consistency is key. That's it. That's what it's all about.
That's what it's all about.
Nothing changes if nothing changes. Challenge yourself this upcoming season. How can you be better at a barbecue? How can you inspire other people? How can you make a little difference that at the next barbecue, now it's easy, now let's make another little